Hi Masters of the Universe fans, welcome back to a toy talk about the Sorceress. The Sorceress is one of my absolute favourite characters from Masters of the Universe. I remember as a kid watching the cartoon. It was on Saturday mornings only where I grew up. So anytime a Sorceress episode was on, I was always very happy. So as you can see, there are a few different versions of her. The vintage figure was probably the last figure that I was allowed to buy as a child. After that, my parents said no more. Also, the line, I think she was one of the last figures made. Okay, so let's have a look at her. So this is the vintage toy Sorceress. I was always very happy to have her as a kid, but just completely puzzled by this crazy headdress that they gave her. I guess it was to fit the mechanism in the back for her action feature. So her wings clip under, you push the tail, and the wings spring up. So that was her action feature. So all I can assume is that her headdress was shaped like this to allow for the mechanism under there to work. Okay, so as you can see, she came with this white staff. The feathers on her tunic, I guess, were painted on, so they scratch off very easily. Her legs are a bit wobbly. Now she could never sit down. I don't know, those elastics are very loose in there. They're probably ready to break. I'll replace them soon. But anyway, I was always very happy to own her, to have her in my collection. Yes, so that's the vintage Sorceress. Now, as we all know, Sorceress turned into Zoar. So Zoar, this toy was actually a reuse of the eagle from Big Jim, the 70s toy line by Mattel. So they obviously just repainted it, created this Zoar character in the original comic books, and I believe it was Filmation that then went ahead and turned Zoar into the Sorceress character because she didn't exist in the early mini comics. So that is Zoar. He has an action feature, or she. And press this to flap her wings. It's like magic. So that is the vintage Sorceress. Next up was the 2000X. So in 2002, when Mattel relaunched Masters of the Universe, they released this 2000X statue. So she didn't come out in the actual toy line. She was done afterwards by the Four Horsemen in their Staction, which is a mashup of action figure and statues. So she does not have any articulation at all. She comes on this flight stand that plugs into her back. She has a lot of gorgeous detail and paint on her, the shading on her arms, on her legs, on her tunic there. It's all amazing. She has a very beautiful face, as you can see, and she comes with this bird staff. If that will focus. Anyway, so that's her. She also came with a 2000X style Zoar. Focus. As you can see, very different to the eagle that we had in the vintage line. But again, beautifully coloured and sculpted by the Four Horsemen. So as part of this Staction line, she also came with a repaint in the classics, in the Filmation colours. So as you can see, I haven't opened her yet. Her blister is starting to turn yellow, so I may open her soon. I just didn't want to do it because it's a bit hard to store her with her arm out like that because it doesn't bend. But as you can see, she is beautiful as well. Just a gorgeous figure, gorgeous sculpt, beautiful design, and even really nice packaging. amazing art on the back, which I think was by Emiliano, if I remember correctly. And the other figures in this wave, Mantana and Tongue-Lasher. So again, I really love this design of the Sorceress. She had a very Egyptian feel, obviously. Okay, and then, oh, I should mention New Adventures in the late 90s. There was never a Sorceress figure in that line. She did appear in the mini comics and the cartoon, but there was never a figure created of her. So next up was this Sorceress figure from the Classics line. Now, when she arrived, her headdress was on very, very high, so I took to her with a hairdryer and peeled her headdress off and repositioned it lower so it would be more cartoon accurate. I also didn't like her face, so I had a friend repaint her. I feel like she's a lot more Filmation accurate now. Some people don't like repaints, some people prefer to keep with the factory look that we're given, but I'm not afraid to change it up if needed. As you can see, she's got a few scuffs on her. She's my favourite figure in the whole line. I've given her a custom spellcasting hand. I believe from memory that hand was made by Evil Mike. I'll place a link in the description if you want to check out his custom work. Okay, she's a great figure. These barrels on her arms are pretty controversial, pretty annoying. They make posing her almost impossible with anything but her arms by her side or raised up. She can't really bend her arms forward because they go up with her. So that's very disappointing by Mattel, but you know what? I'm just glad to have her, so there she is. She also came with Zoar and this stand. Oh, and she came with one of those white staffs as well. I just don't have it with me at the moment. So that was the Classics version of Zoar. As you can see, he is a lot smaller than the vintage version. He's a lot more in scale. And yeah, I like him a lot. Oh, her, sorry, her. I always say Zoar as a him, but it's the Sorceress, so I guess she's a she. So that is the Classics first version that came out. And at the time, Mattel was also doing traveling exclusives. So this Sorceress here, Temple of Doom Sorceress, where she appeared in the mini comic Temple of Doom as a with this white clear color scheme. So Mattel did her as an exclusive. As you can see, she's exactly the same as the Classics, just with the white and grey colour scheme and the clear wings. I never bothered repainting her face. I guess I just wanted to keep one with that sort of original look. So I've kept her as is. That's her staff. It has a pearlescent paint on it, which is really nice. And she also came with a Zoar. The stand didn't come with this one. This is from a weapons pack, but this was grey Zoar. Focus. As you can see, just a simple repaint of the existing Zoar that we got last time. Now the other Sorceress Zoar actually that we got was the Crystal Zoar from the Filmation episode Temple of the Sun. So this Crystal Zoar came with the figure, the Nepthu figure from the Filmation mini sub that came out a few years ago. I think it was 2013. So we did get a Crystal Sorceress. I'm not a huge fan of the yellowy color of it. I would have preferred it cast in more of a blue color, but I may end up giving it a wash eventually. This stand that she's on, I got on Shapeways. That's perfect. I can't remember the guy's name that I got it from, but I will look it up and place a link below if you want it. I highly recommend this stand if you've just got your Crystal Zoar sitting on a shelf. Very, very cool. And that's about it. Actually, I should mention, before anyone asks, this Castle Grayskull Mirror. This was a custom from Evil Mike as well. that I really love. So I've just got it out because I'm going to use it in some photos at the end of this video. So I'll place a link in the description to that as well. Again, another amazing piece of work by Evil Mike. And that is my Sorceress collection. So thank you so much for watching, and stick around for some photos at the end. Thanks guys, bye.